People today in the United States smoke marijuana for multiple purposes. Imagine yourself in pain. Every time you move, sharp needles are stabbing your lower back. With that, imagine having an extreme anxiety attack out of nowhere that is uncomfortable, that lasts for minutes and even sometimes for hours. Kevin Gastelum is a UFC competitor that drives for success. He pushes himself to limits that no human has ever reached. Sweat, blood, tears is all he leaves. Kelvin came from nothing to something. This kid is talented, no question about that. He has the potential to be the face of the UFC. You can tell he was born to fight. Quote Dana White. Um, Today I'd like to explain why Kelvin smoked marijuana, and I want to restore his image in the UFC. So, for USADA, nothing is more important than to keep athletes safe from harm from illegal drugs. USADA has been punishing athletes that have been doping, and they have had let some athletes smoke marijuana for medical purposes due to a certain amount. Every UFC fan knows that Kelvin made the sport of MMA. On April 5th of 2017, Kelvin tested positive for marijuana. His drug test showed carbon dioxide THC positive. After the UFC and the Athletic State Commission find out about the results, they actually punished Kelvin by taking one of his goals in life, and that was to face the all-time greatest Anderson Silva. I'm going to explain about Kelvin's situation. Yes, Kelvin did smoke marijuana, but he had the intention of eliminating his medical condition. He even said, and I quote, "I'm truly sorry for the mistake I have made. I really regret the decision of consuming more than I should have. I have no excuse on why I smoked more, but I promise the UFC and USADA that I will no longer consume marijuana if I have to, in order to compete against Silva." Kel was going through a tough time during the decision of smoking marijuana. For the reason the anxiety increased while training for the Silva fight. For one reason, one of his family members did pass away. His anxiety actually got worse after that. His back was perfectly fine. When he was training for the Anderson Silva fight. Calvin's team did knew about the crisis the first day the news came out. According to his head coach Raphael, they accidentally let him smoke more weed than he should have. So, excuse me. Usually, Calvin will smoke in front of the supervisor to know how much he smokes. Unfortunately, his supervisor didn't take note after Calvin oversmoked because he felt extremely bad for him due to his family loss. The supervisor let him smoke more weed than Calvin should have while Calvin was going through a tough time. His supervisor would let him smoke limitlessly. So also Calvin wasn't in the mindset of knowing how much he could smoke. There are worse things than smoking weed. In this sport, there are some athletes that consume enhancement performance drugs and are punished less than the ones that are smoking weed. So in the past, UFC athletes have consumed TRTs while getting ready for a fight. TRT is actually a major performance enhancement drug and increases testosterone. They only have about 6 months suspension. People that consume weed have at least 1 year. They both are illegal drugs if consumed without any permission. In the past, Anderson Silva tested HAs positive and only had 1 year suspension, while his opponent Nate Diaz showed a large amount of THC, also known as marijuana, on his drug test and was suspended for 5 years. Marijuana is not a performance enhancement drug. and it actually helps the body relax. It doesn't help you inside the octagon. It's not a steroid. It does not increase any testosterone or HGH levels, which means it doesn't increase performance. Kelvin is one of the few athletes in the UFC that has increased pay-per-view buyers by having a country behind him while he's fighting. Kelvin has brought thousands of fans for the UFC. Without Kelvin being in the UFC, the pay-per-view will lose money because the fans want to see him fight. The UFC knew he was smoking marijuana for medical purposes, and told him it was acceptable. Kevin did mention the UFC about his problems, about his family. He didn't mention the UFC about smoking marijuana, but he did have a limit. So today I have explained why Kelvin should continue his UFC career without any suspension. We all make mistakes, and Kelvin made one, and he regrets it. We hope that the Athletic State Commission understands Kelvin's situation. We should not define Kelvin due to a drug test. He is an incredible person and an amazing athlete, and a great example for the young MMA athletes in our community. Thank you.